Okay, another episode of Conquer Corona here, a side segment of our Fearless Flipping podcast where we are, during this whole coronavirus scare, giving everyone a perspective from professionals in the industry. And we've got a true professional on the call right now, Matt Garabedian here in Fresno, California, who is one of the biggest wholesalers, not only in Fresno, but also in California and probably flirting with the nation here. So we've got a real interesting perspective here from Matt, which is basically like, you've been through it all. You've been through 2008. You've been now through this. And there's a lot of people that are kind of, we all kind of were talking about there's some sort of recession or correction coming. Didn't see it in the form of a virus, literally a zombie apocalypse. But like, Matt, what is going on in your business? How has this affected you guys personally and on a business level?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on. Appreciate the opportunity to come and share my 2 cents, if you will. Yeah, I mean, right now, I've had several calls like this, and I had a call a couple days ago. I'm involved with a mastermind that is not real estate related. It's there's a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders of the economy, right? I think entrepreneurs are guys that go out and create opportunity, they create jobs, they create momentum. And so obviously there is, a lot of unknown, and there's a lot of uneasiness going on right now. And so I actually have the privilege of being, mentored in this group with Ed Milet and Andy Frizella. If you guys know those guys, they're Ed's a business leader and has a great podcast, and so does Andy. So seeing from their perspectives, I mean, these guys are self-made and they do really well. And so I'll kind of share with you some of the takeaways that I got from them.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And yeah, again, it's all perspective, right? So most of us that are, probably watching this or will watch this are entrepreneurs. They're people that have chose to go down that path and elected to create their own future, and so what that means is, we have to go out, provide, create, sell, innovate, and add value in order to be paid, right? Because we're not necessarily showing up at a job from 9 to 5 and collecting a paycheck. So we're in a different boat here because now we've got this coronavirus situation going on, and it's certainly going to affect each of us differently. And I think, we're sitting here, March 20th. From the consensus, it's, the cards are not laid out on the table yet.
Right.
So
it's changing every minute.
Know exactly. Yeah, it's a fluid situation. So we don't know what the next move shall be, because there just hasn't enough time hasn't taken effect, and we haven't seen the ramifications of it yet. Obviously there's a lot of predictions, and there's some things that are, probably being calculated, and there's opinions being formed. But at the end of the day, we don't know yet. Okay. So that's the first thing. So we always have to look at it this way, right? There's always opportunity through adversity.
Right.
Okay. So we have to make a decision, number one, how we look at adversity. And, one of the things, that we hear is things are happening for me and not to me, right? So that's step one. Like, how are you looking at this particular time? Okay. We're all kind of in the same boat. Like we were talking about before we started here, Kyle was like, hey, we're all in the same situation. We do have different economic and, situations, and people are in different places and different seasons. So I understand that. So here's basically what I would like to share. Number one, right, is like we have to maintain emotional control, okay? Because there's a lot of information coming, and there's a lot of scary information, quite frankly. And so
Absolutely.
if we can't find some even ground to kind of settle on, we're gonna be riding it like this. Emotionally, we're gonna be all over the place. So number one is maintain emotional control. And so how do we do that? We don't expand energy, right, into scenarios you can't control.
Exactly.
So focus on what you can control, right? Your attitude, your daily accountability, your actions, your thought processes, your workouts, your if you're a spiritual person, you're praying, you're meditating. For me, I'm a Christian, so I'm getting closer with God, right? Like that's my standard, right? So how can I strengthen my relationship with my Lord? So that's how I can maintain emotional control. Okay. And then I like to get my workouts in. I'm eating healthy,
Mm-hmm.
taking my vitamins. And so I'm controlling those things, right? Because if we can't control our mind, there's really we're limited to what we could do. And
Absolutely.
this goes before business, right? Like you have to tend your own garden before you're able to go out and think clearly, to make decisions, because you have employees, you have overhead, you have people that depend on you. So if you can't take care of yourself, right, it's like kind of like put your oxygen mask on first before
Yep.
you help others.
Absolutely.
So as a leader, as an entrepreneur, this is something that you need to do, right? So maintain emotional control, and then shrink your focus, right? Shrink your focus to very specific things, like I mentioned. So if you could control that, put your energy and focus into the things you can control, then that'll develop a clear state of mind. It'll give you the ability to think and plan accordingly, not get overwhelmed, not get tossed to and fro by all of the negativity and all the scare that's happening through the media, through social media, through the regular media, through the unknown, through our mind. So there's forces working against us to have a sound mind. Second thing is quality of the questions that you're asking yourself, right? So learn to ask quality questions so you can get better answers. So here's a great question. How can I win right now? That's a good question.
Yep.
Okay. And so this is not always business strategy, guys. It's how can you win on a self-development aspect, things that you can control, because the answer might not be you might not be able to win in business for the
Right.
next 8 weeks, 3 months, nobody knows, right? But you can win on getting better through individual things that you could do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So innovating, right? Getting out in front of the masses, because the truth of the matter is there's a lot of people that are just going to be buying into the fear, buying into the thought of going broke, going under, losing everything. The world's going to collapse. So that's easy to fall into, right?
Yep.
To hunker down, to get into that scarcity mindset. And so when you're operating from a place of fear and uncertainty, you can't operate in a place of abundance. They don't coexist, right?
No.
Like they don't commingle. So the first thing is to get yourself asking the right questions. Like, what can I do to get better? How can I continue to develop and become the better version of myself while I'm in this quarantine period, right? So that's many different things to different people. You just have to identify some of the things that you're lacking, and really hone in on doing those things so that you can come out of this a better leader. Your business can be set up to weather the storm. And we all have to take necessary actions. I mean, I'm looking at things that I can change. I'm looking at things that I could cut. I'm looking at things that I could focus on to become better.
Absolutely. So the big thing is essentially, Matt, what you're talking about is just control. Along with that is innovation, and then asking yourself better questions, figuring out exactly who you are right now. And a lot of this, I mean, like I'm hearing so many people talking about like, this is the time right now to realize that everything we've been doing and putting our attention into really doesn't matter in the long run, versus like having like just appreciating everything that's in front of you. And I did a video about that
Mm-hmm.
recently of just like, March 12th was a big day in my business in Airbnb, where it was just like, holy cow, everyone and their mom canceled their reservations. And then 2 days later, another, like everyone and their mom and their grandma and their cousins and their second cousins removed, they canceled their reservations. And so it was like,
Surreal. Yeah.
it's a real easy thing to get down on. And to, like you said, you start to have this downward spiral of like, woe is me, but everyone is going through it. And it's just the time to maybe just sit back, observe not only what's going on around you, but observe within and figure out, how can I get better and how can I be out on the other end of this, whether that's 2 days from now or God forbid 2 years from now, to take advantage of all these opportunities.
Yeah, and a great way to do that is have gratitude, Kyle, right? So
Yeah.
like, thank God for the problems that you do have.
Yeah.
The filling up your vacancies is a problem, right? It's an economical problem. But, what about the guy that has a single income that went to zero, right? And has
Exactly.
two kids and a wife or whatever to provide for. So there's always someone that has it worse, right? So
Yep.
having gratitude to even say like, I appreciate the problems that I get to handle because I
Mm-hmm.
have a sound mind, I have good intentions, I'm providing, a quality place for people that need, some temporary shelter.
Yep.
You maybe have to drop your rates or do whatever
Exactly.
you got to do, but you're serving a need and you're
Yep.
you're taking care of your needs at the same time. So that's just a byproduct of thinking clearly. And I think I didn't tell you, but I saw some of the things that you were posting about, offering your Airbnbs to people that need some help. And so I think, you're doing a great service for people that are in need. And we just have to start coming from a place of gratitude. And it just goes back to like, we got to take care of us first, make sure we're good, right?
Yep.
And it's that answer is different for everybody, right? And we have to figure out, and we have to kind of look in the accountability mirror and say,
Yep.
where am I struggling? Like where am I on like uneven ground? Where can I improve my self? Because I just don't feel in control,
Yep.
right? I want to be in
Exactly.
control of what I could be in control of, and then everything external, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. And so, once we're able to understand and harness that, there's a lot of power in that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we could talk about like business strategy and all that stuff, which is important.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we got to
Well,
get the mind, right.
exactly. Well, I think, Matt, just going back to what you said there, I'm finding that during this time, with a whole new set of problems comes a whole new set of potential solutions, which also comes a whole new set of potential people that you can help. And so,
Hmm.
these problems are happening for a reason. I believe everything happens for a reason. I also believe that, like everything that you just brought to the table today, even though we could have talked a lot about real estate and business strategy, this is on a whole new level of what you should be doing from an internal standpoint. And so I thank you for that advice. Is there any other last advice that you want to give anyone, or even in regards to real estate, under 30 seconds, just something real quick that you think anyone should be focusing on?
Um, it's so different for everybody.
Yeah.
I would hate to give a piece of business advice that
Mhm.
doesn't apply to someone that's
Sure.
listening to us across the country, or they have a different model. I I don't know if I could speak to that, but what I could speak to is just, I really think, this is coming from people that have amassed great amount of wealth.
Hmm.
And so the two things that I'll just cover again: emotional control, maintain emotional control, and start asking quality questions so you could get better answers. And then the business will take care of itself. I can promise you that. If, with a clear head and a clear mind, the business will take care of itself. but just control what you could control. Cut expenses if you need to, but at the same time, just be, prudent in fixing what you need to fix.
Cool. And Matt, your handle on Instagram, the Phenom Investor Blueprint, is that what it is? Okay, cool. So everyone connect with them there?
At Phenom Investor. And one more thing,
okay.
I just want to extend an invitation before we had this call. I had like 15 other business owners and real estate investors. We do I'm starting a Friday morning. We did a Zoom call for, we're talking about, what's going on, but we're focusing it on faith and prayer. And so if you're a believer or someone that would like to join, reach out to me on Instagram at Phenom Investor. I'll put you in the group chat, and Friday mornings at 8. So as long as we're quarantined, this is something that we're doing to lift each other up and encourage and help, sharpen our emotional well-being.
Count me in. Throw me in there.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Cool. All right, Matt. Hey, thanks so much for helping everyone here today to conquer Corona and survive and thrive. Appreciate you, brother.